I just feel like right now is a proper time in the world to give out this information to the young girls that are coming up that might need to hear, someone else's point of view besides just, your own. Um, I'm actually 29 years old. This is my last year that I'll be 29 years old. Yay me. I'm stepping into adulthood. I'm grown. Anyway, I want to share about strip club awareness again. I actually started dancing. I was about 21, 22 years old. I'm from Chicago, like I said, so my first club experience was like the factory. The factory is located on like super south, like east, southeast of Chicago. And I feel like they always plant, minority clubs, black clubs on the south side of Chicago. Downtown areas are very strict for black girls to get into in Chicago. And I'll explain more about that later on. So my first experience at the factory, I was about 22 years old. I was like brand new to modeling, brand new to Instagram. Well, I wasn't even using Instagram at the time. I was still using Facebook. I actually maxed out at that time, like 2011, on my Facebook. I maxed out like 5,000 followers at the time because I was a stay-at-home mom and I was just taking pics online. Wanted to show how cute I was. Because I had nothing else to do besides online school and taking care of my little one at the time. So it went from taking pics to the clubs because I needed more fast-paced money. So I was like, oh, let me go in here. I'm pretty. Let me see what I got. And the movie The Players Club always motivated me, as far as like girls getting money. It's all about what the purposes you use it for. So my audition, basically, my friend took me, a male friend of mine took me, and we went. And remind you, it's the year 2012, and he's like, before you even like audition, the lady told me like she got the job, and I was lean, like 130 at the time. I was nice and lean. Again, Chicago was still new to like strip life. Like I feel like the promoters can say, oh, we still had experience as far as social media. I mean, they were coming in there because Chicago's used to clubbing. Chicago's really a club place, not really necessarily a strip club place, but I'll get to the reason why in a minute. So after my first club, I'm dancing, big ass, beautiful club. Factory's beautiful. It has like two sides. It's big enough to be like two separate clubs, and it has a pool outside. It's beautiful. The back was like a real entertainer room. The dressing room was beautiful. Uh, Fluorescent lights, light bulbs, beautiful. A lot of locker space for the girls. It was beautiful. The only thing I disliked at the time, I was like 22, was like, damn, it was slow for me. I feel like because my weight, like Chicago at the time was still wanting like really thick girls, and I feel like I'm thick as in like my whole body and juicy and whatnot, but I'm not like Atlanta thick, slugging. So Chicago really likes thick girls. Chicago likes what the shit that they don't have. And that's just the truth. I'm from here. I can vouch to say. Chicago is infatuated with perception and the shit that's not theirs. So after dancing at the factory, being a beginner, 3 months, I could only afford to make like $20 a night. It was really, really slow. And maybe because it was like me not having any experience, I could barely dance. It started out really fast. So I only started out making like enough to just have a cab ride home. And bad enough, I lived an hour away, so it was crazy for me. So let's fast forward. I'm like, I tried the factory, and I was like, you know what? I was online at the time. I was like looking at Malaya, looking at Johnny Blaze. All the girls that was making noise in 2012 online was like those type of girls, Kitty Couture. There was a lot of different chicks, just Britney, that was making noise at that time, 2011, 2012. So I decided take my butt to Houston. Took my butt to Houston, and it changed my life, y'all. Seriously, Houston changed my life. I'm not gonna get all into the graphic details. I'll wait until I like actually start a book. But Houston was like not nothing to play with, and this was like the year 2012. 2012, I was at least like 22 to 23 years old, and I took my butt into Houston. Malaya was like all over the internet at the time. I was like, damn, she's gorgeous. If she can do it, I can do it. I know I can do it. I really wasn't thinking like, you don't really know shit. You know, your maintenance got to be up to par. You need to have your own money. I was just like a girl from the dream, you know, a girl with the dream from Chicago. Like, I just want to go where the elites did it and made some money. I want to go where the elites are and make money where the elites are. So I went where the elites were, thinking that it would be easy, could barely afford to pay my hotel, could barely afford to pay tip out, which is like $75 at Dreams at the time, in the Southwest Houston, Texas. There were a lot of other clubs in Houston, Texas. Centerfolds, High 10, Scores, Diamonds, Platinum City, Gold Diggers. I loved the Waffle House when I was out there. The Waffle House is good. Houston was a big ass experience. It had a lot of pimping hole going on down there. It was new to me, and people kept saying, "Oh, don't they got pimps and hoes in Chicago?" I guess I was growing up in the suburbs, and I wouldn't know. Your mom kept me really safe, you know, until I got grown, so I didn't know about that reality. And got out there. The girls were moving so fast. Like, I met a girl. I took actually the train down there at the time. It's about $100 to get to Houston, Texas from Chicago. Took a bus that followed with the train. I think it was like Longview, Texas. It went like through St. Louis all the way like to Longview, Texas, all the way San Antonio down to Houston, Texas. Wow. Beautiful journey. I loved every inch of it, exploring while I was young. And ended up meeting this guy. Ended up finding out he was in those streets. You know, he wasn't what I thought he was. And he taught me some things about, you know, the nightlife. He taught me some things about Houston, Texas, about, you know, if you're going to be in the strip club, you're going to be in the nightlife. He gave me, you know, some game that changed my life, that helped me make money while I was out there. And then after dealing with him, I realized, like, I don't want to get money with somebody. If I'm going to make some money, I'm going to make it for myself and for my little one. And the reason I came out there was really to get my life together and to make more money doing it, not really be, you know, possessed by a man. So after gaining all this experience in Houston, Texas, took my ass back home to Chicago. Then I realized, oh, not much has changed. You know, the clubs from, man, we've had so many clubs in Chicago that rechanged their name. It's ridiculous. Within like the last 10 years, it's insane. You know, I came back home. I tried all the urban pop clubs, V Live. Like, I came back home and tried Club O before it turned black. It was me and a couple other mixed girls there in the day shift. We were making our money until there was an incident with me and the weekend manager, who was like a different race. And she's like, oh, you need to change your name. I'm like, this is the name I was using in Houston. Why would I need to change my name? So it was a dilemma about me changing my name, and someone accusing me of leaving oil on the stage, and that's just a no-no in Houston. You just don't put oil on your body. You just be natural and sexy. That's what H-Town girls do. So after that dilemma, I got fired and took my ass to a club called Arnie's Idle Hour in Harvey, Illinois. And Arnie's, to me, was like being at home in Houston. People might have thought, like, because it's in a really bad area, or, you know, it had truck drivers, people like that. What people don't understand, like in Houston, Texas at that time, those are the main clubs and the main girls at those clubs making like $1,000 a night because they're babysitting the bar and they're just talking, conversating, $100 a conversation. Or if you're like me, who was established porn star, reality, you're charging like $100 a dance. You don't have to be sitting in their face for $20. You can really know your worth and charge them more. So me being back home in Chicago, I had that Houston money mentality. So it wasn't hard for me to make money when I got back home from Houston, Texas. But I felt like if it wasn't for Houston, Texas, I would have never known how to hustle or how to finesse and make money out the club at all if it wasn't for Houston, Texas. I feel like Chicago needs to change. Before I got to work at this club called Arnie's Auto Hour, it was technically a club that allowed customers to come in this club and to practically do what they want, but to also pay for what they want. And I learned a lot from Houston, Texas, so it took me no time to actually charge more and make more than everybody that was working around me because I knew more. And that club would actually charge me after I made my money, which is good. The clubs nowadays in Chicago are charging you at the door. Black clubs are charging you at the door, so you don't even get to talk to anyone about much, probably. They're just telling you to pay like $100, $200 to work. I love my city, Chicago, but I feel like these owners don't know anything about running a club for black women. I feel like you don't overtax black women, you know, that are coming in here faithfully and giving their time to a job that doesn't even produce a W-2, that doesn't even allow them to file taxes at the end of the year. You're taking from these women and you're hoping that they come here every damn day and to give you 50 girls plus $200 a night. That's about $10,000. I'm going to give you an example. So I started back my club hunting. I'm like, you know what? I've been really focusing on financial for myself, and I need other streams of income, you know, to help me do it. So I'm like, oh, let me start back dancing. So I start off with the white clubs in Chicago, and I start off with the black clubs last. I figure if I can find me a white club in a weekday, black club in a weekend, I wouldn't have to work as hard, and I could, you know, continue my payroll for my company and just add more on top so I can get in finance and do and make the checker moves that I need to make. The white clubs, this is how I look. The white clubs interviewed me. Some of the clubs barely interviewed me. Told me 7 to 10 business days after they interviewed me. All the clubs in Chicago were asking me for an actual application for me to put my name on a piece of paper. All the white clubs were asking me for my ID as well, copy of my ID. Some of the clubs were telling me that I could not even come into the club until I gave up my ID. And then when I would come back in a week's radius, maybe a month, to see if they were hiring, because it's June, they told me no. And I would go into these clubs and say, oh, I'm a porn star. I'm Miss Yummy. I have a social media following. I'm just trying to use my social media status to make money. No. These are all the white clubs in Chicago. I'm going to name them. You got Rick's. Rick's is open from like 2 p.m. to 5. Oceans kept telling me like 3 times in a week, I'll come back from 10 to 11 and I pop up. Or 9 to 11 and I pop up. I can't even speak to anybody. It's really bogarted here in Chicago. So this is just for the girls, you know, in the future that would be coming here so they would know how it works here. Gold Room had me audition told me no as well. Polecats told me no as well. I would try Heavenly Body in Atlantis, but I feel like if these clubs aren't even using social media, what the fuck? You're expecting girls to pay $100, $200, and she didn't even promote. People don't even know who the fuck she is. And you think she's gonna make the money. Now, somebody like me with a social media status, I'm like, I could use my social media status coming through the club, but who the fuck would know that I'm coming there that night if I just pop up? So you take $200 from me, I don't make anything. Maybe at the end of the day, I'm just all about profit, so I don't give a fuck if a person isn't. Okay, so. And then I feel like in Chicago, the younger the girl is, the more they are interested in hiring you. And I know this probably goes around all of the 50 states in America, like, oh, younger is better. But I feel like being a porn star, isn't variety better? The girl with no sexuality, the girl who has all this sexuality, the temptation of both, shouldn't that be amazing? But I feel like my city just, they're actually in the business for greed and not making sure we eat. So that's why the girls here don't really look like anything, or they're just always hustling and never renovating their business or never becoming more than what they have because they're always working. And that goes for girls in the strip club and out. It's tough trying to be your own boss or even just working for somebody else, because every brand needs renovation. Everybody needs to do something else eventually. So, as far as the black clubs in Chicago, they are only fucking open on the weekend. I know, right? Only open on the weekend, let alone they open at 10 p.m. Depending on you guys, I'm 29. I'm like, can I get an early start, cash out, and leave? That's just me. They open up late. I actually visited Club O tonight, and I guess Fabulous was there, and they're like, some girls at the door, like, I'm like, well, hearing her talk to another girl, she's like, tip out is $200, and they had a whole fucking list of girls, and I'm like, it just had $200 down, like, under every girl, and maybe girls didn't come in there with $200, but they have to pay $200 at the end of the night, and which isn't really bad if you're there. Your objective is to make money, but if they're taking money before you make it, you have to think about it. Who's profiting here? Are you profiting? Are they profiting? Like, are you just the girl who don't give a fuck, you know? So the girl's at the door, like, at the back door with all the dancers, and she's like, before you can even get to the dressing room, she's there with a pen and a paper, ready to receive her money. She's like, the owner's my dude, and you have to pay $200. And maybe I'm a cheap ass bastard. I just spend my money on valuable things. I'm like, $200. Oh no, I gotta go, because first of all, I'm just restarting this whole club adventure, and to hear that I gotta pay $200 on a slow night, I thought it was gonna be a slow night. Like, I understand Fabulous is in this bitch, but I'm not here for Fabulous. I'm here to make my money. Here to make rent money, okay? So it's all good, you know. I let them parlay, and my best advice for girls like me, you know, if you're trying to be more low-key, work on the weekdays, you know what I'm saying? Work on the weekdays, preferably clubs that are open early so you can make your money, and if you have the option to leave early, you can actually leave early. What else? I just feel like Chicago needs to be less stricken on tip out. Like, all these other black-owned businesses, they don't rape their girls financially to work. They know that they need the girls. They know the girls need to look good in order to make the money, so they don't aim to take all the money that they earn. You know, $75 is cool, you know. I'm even interested in starting a strip club, you know, and I wouldn't charge the girls that much, and I'm more welcoming for the out-of-state girls to actually come and work at my club. I have no problem with that. Chicago damn near don't care if you're an out-of-state girl or if you work in-state. Chicago is really strict. They just want their money, and then you can work. You know, it's really different here. I really wish like the clubs were different, because then I would never like stop taking breaks. But because I live outside of the city, I'm always like questioning the value of a dollar. And maybe the older you get, you should. Yeah. So that's just some of my advice on, Chicago strip clubs. Um, I've been on and off as an exotic dancer for a while, and I don't really see much change. All I see is a lot of young girls coming up and not knowing that they shouldn't pay that amount to work, and that the club should learn to realize that they do need the girls, and that, you can't make girls with social media status take all of their money, make them promote and pay. There has to be a mediator in there where that the girl gets, what she wants. But they'll learn. Chicago always catches on